Welcome to the weekly FreelanceBar podcast. I'm Scott.
I'm Sarah.
And today we're looking at a bunch of tech and business stories. Some interesting ones this week.
Yeah, definitely a lot going on.
Yeah. The kind of make you kind of like step back and go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is that the future coming at us right now?
I think so.
So let's start with something a little bit nostalgic.
Okay.
Nokia.
Ooh.
Remember Nokia?
Oh, yeah.
The phones that
The indestructible phone.
yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
They were known for being indestructible.
Yeah.
But also just that whole era of mobile phone design.
Yeah.
They've launched something called the Nokia Design Archive
Wow.
online. And it is
What is that?
it's amazing. Like, we're talking about over 20 years
Oh, wow.
of mobile phone design history. 700 entries,
Wow.
over 20,000 items.
That's massive.
Massive. Like, you can see the evolution of all those iconic Nokia phones.
That's so cool.
Like from the really early brick-like models
Yeah.
to the later ones that were really sleek and colorful.
Yeah, I remember those colorful ones.
Yeah.
On those so bad.
It's just amazing to see how those early designs that were kind of constrained by the technology at the time really paved the way for the smartphones that we all have now.
Yeah, like how did we get from there to here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, for example, just the shift from physical keypads to touch screens.
Huge.
Huge.
That really changed everything.
Revolutionized how we interact with these devices.
Yeah.
Opened up a whole world of possibilities for apps and all the functionality that we have now.
I mean, that's kind of crazy to think about, right?
Yeah.
That one design change just like completely like flipped the script on how we use technology in general.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to look at this archive, not just from like a pure nostalgia perspective, but to really see how design innovation really does shape our relationship with technology. And in turn, how technology shapes our world.
It makes you wonder about like what's coming next, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's that next big design change that's going to
shift everything.
shift everything? Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of technology shaping our lives,
Okay.
let's talk about AI
Okay.
and how it's changing the way we find jobs.
Okay.
So LinkedIn has this new feature called Job Match,
I've heard of this.
and it uses AI to analyze your skills and your experience
Okay.
and match you with potential employers.
Wow.
I mean, it sounds like a dream for anybody who's ever like slogged through
Oh my God.
countless job applications.
Yeah. The worst.
Yeah.
Just sending your resume out into the void.
Into the void. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is like the opposite of that.
Yeah, you would think, right?
So what do you think about this whole?
I mean, the potential is huge, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you can imagine like a world where we're spending less time sifting through job postings that are just like totally irrelevant.
And more time like actually connecting with companies that like care about what we can do
Yeah.
and the skills that we bring to the table.
Yeah.
But there's always but how do you make sure it's fair?
Right.
How do you prevent those biases that like we all have as humans
Yeah.
from creeping into the algorithm?
Because it's only as good as the data it's trained on.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So
It's a really crucial point. Like, we can't just blindly trust these algorithms to make these decisions.
it's a tool. It's a tool, not like the final decision maker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need transparency.
Yeah.
We need accountability to make sure that this is being used ethically and responsibly in the hiring process.
For sure.
Okay, so let's move on to something that's been generating a lot of buzz lately.
Okay.
The potential TikTok ban
Oh yeah, this is a big
in the U.S.
Yeah.
and the scramble for alternatives.
Everyone's trying to be the next TikTok.
Right. So there's this app. It's a Chinese short form video app called RedNote.
RedNote.
And it's really suddenly surged in popularity.
Interesting.
I mean, it's even topped the Apple App Store download charts.
I haven't heard of this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. And it's not even just about like finding a TikTok replacement. It's almost like we're seeing a more fragmented social media landscape emerge.
Okay.
Right. So you got RedNote, you got Lemonade, you got Flip.
I have heard of Lemonade.
These are all kind of like coming up, and each of them kind of has its own unique features.
Yeah.
And target audience.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So what do you think about that? I mean, is this a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, I think it could be a good thing, right? Like more choice,
Yeah.
more control over your online experience.
Yeah.
But it also brings up those questions of like, okay, how do you moderate content on all these different platforms?
Right.
What about data privacy? Are we
Right.
just going to create all these little echo chambers?
Yeah, these walled gardens.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot to think about there.
Definitely.
Okay, shifting gears a little bit.
Okay.
Microsoft has announced that they're going to be ending support for Microsoft 365 apps
Oh.
on Windows 10
Okay.
after October 14th, 2025.
225. Okay.
So that means, like, if you want to keep using Word,
What?
Excel,
Yeah.
PowerPoint, without any hiccups,
Got upgrades.
you got to upgrade to Windows 11.
Windows 11, yeah. So
Yeah.
they're really pushing people toward Windows 11.
Yeah, I mean, from a business perspective,
Mhm.
makes sense, right?
Yeah.
They want people to adopt the latest operating system.
They want everybody on the same page.
And this is one way to do it.
Makes sense.
But for users who maybe aren't ready to upgrade or can't upgrade,
Yeah, what happens to them?
yeah, what happens, right? So technically, those apps will still function,
Okay.
but they could become more vulnerable to security risks or experience performance issues.
That's not good.
So it's kind of like this dilemma that I think a lot of us face.
Yeah.
You know, staying on older familiar systems,
Comfort zone.
the comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
Versus keeping up with the latest technology, even when it feels like they're kind of pushing you into it.
Fit of forced progress.
Yeah. And finally, it's a lot to talk about Google.
Okay.
So Google's doing something interesting. They're making their AI features in Workspace apps
Okay.
like Gmail and Docs free.
Free. Okay.
But at the same time, they're increasing the subscription price
Whoa.
for those apps.
So you get more features, but you got to pay more.
Yeah. So it's kind of a mixed message,
Yeah, a little bit.
don't you think?
I mean, it seems like they're trying to compete with like Microsoft and OpenAI, who are like really pushing AI into all their products.
Right.
So Google's like, okay, we have to like
They get it.
show people that our AI is valuable too,
Yeah.
and maybe get them hooked on using it.
Yeah. So by making it free, they're trying to attract more users and really showcase like, hey, look what our AI can do.
Exactly.
But then the price increase,
Yeah, not so fun.
not so fun, right?
Yeah.
But maybe it's a necessary step to fund the development of those AI features
Yeah.
and, you know, stay ahead in this whole AI race.
It's a race.
It is a race.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how users respond.
Yeah. Are people willing to pay more?
Right.
Especially when there's so many free AI tools popping up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
It's a tough decision.
it's a tough decision.
Mindset.
Yeah. So we've gone from reminiscing about old Nokia phones
Yeah.
to like really pondering the implications of AI in our work lives,
And our social lives too.
in our social lives,
Everything.
everything. Yeah. Quite a journey.
It has been.
Yeah.
That's all for this week. Remember to follow us on YouTube, blueskyandextrabar.com for hourly news updates. Stay connected.